story. So I think it's time for us to go ahead and get started with the first shift. The first shift is there is really no such thing as work-life balance. Understanding that work-life balance is all about making the decisions that align with your values and how you want to be. Many people actually think work-life balance is an equal relationship, but it's not. It's really all about your energy spread. Everything you do is a part of life, even including our jobs. According to a recent article published by Working Nurse, self-discipline and self-knowledge are needed to achieve the balance that brings about enjoyment and achievement. Balance you desire is about making the right choices for you. When you make the right choices for you and they are not out of obligation, you're on the path to doing something every day that brings you true and meaningful joy because you made the right decisions. Doing a job where it doesn't really feel like work. You'll be genuinely interacting with your family members from a place of abundant love where you're doing it from your heart and not because of what they think you should be doing. You'll also have time for yourself every day without feeling guilty and like you're sacrificing your own happiness. Now, I told you at the beginning you were going to have a plan to get you started at the end of this webinar. This should look familiar to you. It's straight out of Nursing 101. Do your own self-assessment. Ask yourself some key questions. Why are you doing the work you're doing? Why are you friends with the people that you're friends with? What's your life purpose? How are you being true to yourself? Questions are often looked upon as questions of doubt, but I don't see it that way at all. I ask myself questions in order to stay present with what I'm doing and making sure that I'm doing exactly what I should be doing, especially if those answers are surprising to me in life. Our next shift is mastering the mindset. Have a mindset of being the creator of work-life balance according to your definition. Here's a quote from Dr. Robert Brooks, who's a world-renowned positive psychology guru. Mindsets are the assumptions and expectations we have for ourselves and others. These attitudes guide our behavior and influence our responses to daily events. The work begins with our mindsets as they guide our actions. If you don't believe you deserve the balance you desire, you won't achieve it. If you don't believe you can have the balance you desire, you also won't achieve it. You have the power to create the life you desire. You are just as important as the people you serve. A few months ago, I was working with a nurse that was giving, and giving. But ultimately, she was sacrificing herself in the process. She worked for months with a fractured back, and I don't really know if she knew it. I think she just thought she was suffering from some severe back pain until she finally decided that it was time to see exactly what was going on. But she really wasn't listening to her body. She put her patients and her family in front of her. And the reason why I'm telling you this story is because eventually she had to quit, and it was killing her mentally, emotionally, and spiritually that she could no longer do the work she loved. But it was because she was sacrificing herself while she was giving to others instead of really listening to her body and taking better care of herself and making the choices that was aligning to who she wanted to ultimately be. When you have the mindset, you're going to feel energized because you met your own needs in order to serve others from a place of abundance instead of resentment. You're going to be worried and stress-free because you've made the right decisions that align with your values that are important to you. And then you'll be waking up every morning and you'll be feeling excited about the day ahead because you're doing exactly what you feel is important. And it's all about your mindset. When you shift your mindset from being the victim of your circumstance instead of being the creator of your circumstance, you'll begin making choices that will give you the balance you're seeking. This is where you have to start in order to begin creating the balance you want. You'll start focusing on what you want instead of being weighed down by what's not right. You'll start making and taking full responsibility for yourself and your actions and your situation instead of blaming others. Mastering the mindset by choosing to believe you can achieve. The next shift is work your magic, the power of your words. Here's a quote from one of my favorite spiritual leaders. Your words are the power you have to express and communicate, to think and thereby create the events of your life. The majority of us really don't truly understand the power of the words that we speak. Our words have the power to build a life or totally destroy it. Have you taken time to notice how the words really affect your emotion and how some of those words can be uplifting and how others can bring you down? How often do you roll out of bed dreading the day and start speaking negativity before you even get to work? Do you take note of the gossip and negative talk that takes place at work and you just automatically just kind of jump right in? How do you feel afterwards? So often we focus on what we do not want. We're constantly talking about it and sharing it with others. These are some of the things that you're probably familiar with. I'm sick and tired of ... She is a pain in the blank. Have you noticed that you keep attracting the same things into your life? The secret is here in the present moment. If you pay attention to the present, you can improve upon it. And if you improve upon the present, what comes later will also be better. Have you noticed that when you start having those pity parties or jumping into the gossip, that you even get more and more things to gossip about, or the whole department or close team members also begin to be having those same kind of gloom and doom kind of days because you keep talking about the same thing over. So this is really what the power of your words are, and how they impact and affect your life. Your words have power. Spend time sharing your dreams and your desires with your family members. What if you could start speaking positive things into your life? Start choosing your words carefully in a manner in which they're aligning with what you want to create. Think of your words as seeds that have the ability to produce a garden. So let's do a quick recap regarding the 3 shifts to the life-changing balance you want. I want to make sure everybody is still following me. So the first shift is there is no such thing as work-life balance. It's all about making the right decisions that allow you to spread your energy in a manner in which it aligns with what you want to do and what you want to accomplish. The second shift is master the mindset. You are just as important as those you serve. So you would start making decisions that will align with giving you what you need in order to perform at your greatest good, because you mastered the mindset that you are just as important as those that you're serving. The third shift is work your magic, the power of your words. Stop talking about what you don't want and start talking about more of what you do want in your life. So let's go on to the fourth shift, and that is build a barrier. We're going to talk about no, N-O, and the other no. Betsy Jacobson is a well-known business consultant, and she said that balance is not better time management, but better boundary management. Balance means making choices and enjoying those choices. Nurses are a unique kind of people. They have this insatiable need to care for others, which is both their biggest strength and their flaw. It goes back to when we discussed earlier about making the right choices. And making the right choices, we have to know how to set some boundaries, to know when to say yes and when to say no. When you set boundaries for yourself, you won't feel overwhelmed or overworked because you made decisions that honor you. You'll have more time to do more of what you want and less of doing what you don't like. You'll be less tense and more relaxed. Think of the smiles on the faces of your family members when you're fully present, because you have chosen them instead of your little electronic devices, looking at your phone or pulling out your laptop or even watching TV. You're removing the things that do not serve your highest good so you can do more of these things that allow you to function in your zone of genius. And there are times when you must absolutely say no. when you're stressed or overwhelmed, when you're already doing way too much, and when you're tired or not feeling well, when you're sick. And I talked to you earlier about one of the nurses that I had as a client, and how we have this need that we constantly want to take care of others, and we usually put others first before ourselves. And that usually causes us more stress, more physical pain on the body. And again, for this nurse, Janice, which was really unfortunate that she could no longer do actual bedside care and hands-on care. She's now moved into an administrative role, and she's actually finding her happy place or her genius zone in that area as well. You also have a right to say no to these things. When there's something that you actually don't want to do, when it takes away from your values and your wishes, and when you deserve or need some time to yourself. Now, one of the things that a lot of my friends know me for is Marcy's very organized. I've always been kind of the one that people could come to help get things organized or help get things coordinated. And there came a time when I was trying to be super nurse, and I was trying to be super mom, and I decided that something just had to give. So I did feel a little obligated to be a team mom for my son's soccer team, because I looked at all of the other parents and moms on the team, and they had done these great jobs, and I felt like, okay, Marcy, at some point you're going to have to be a team mom. And I decided to go ahead and take on that responsibility, still having a lot of things going on at work, but I thought that I could swing it. And that particular year that I decided to be a team mom, the team decided that they wanted to go down to Disney and play in a Florida Disney tournament. And that meant that the mom had to coordinate the fundraising for the event as well. Well, I also believe in knowing when too much is just too much. So I had to take a step back, even though I had to kind of coach myself off the ledge, because I was feeling like there were other moms on the team that would have tried to do it all. But I just wasn't going to stress out about it, and I was going to be fair to myself and honor myself. And I just kind of stepped up to the plate and told all the other parents I will do whatever I need to do in order to support the fundraising activities, and I'll even be able to give my funds, my time, and efforts to help the fundraising be successful. But I just could not be the fundraiser coordinator and the team mom. That was not what I signed up for. And I felt a little bad in the process, but when it all came down to it, I know that I was honoring myself, and I was also giving other parents the opportunity to step up to the plate and shine in their genius zone, because I knew that was just not something that I could do with all that I had going on. So I was honoring myself in the process. By learning to say no, you'll create space for doing the things that align with your core values. You'll create joy and peace. And that example that I just gave to you was really about how I was aligning with honoring myself, staying true to my values, and deciding on what I wanted to do and what I didn't want to do. The other no. Know your priorities and learn to say yes on your terms. So I could have easily said yes to the team mom and felt good about it, and I did. But had I said yes to the team mom and to the fundraising, I would have been miserable the entire time. So knowing when to say no and knowing when to say yes they're also very important when you're trying to create the balance that you're looking for. Boundary management is about making choices and enjoying those choices, as they will bring about the balance that you desire, especially when you know when to say no and when to say yes. The last shift is investing in yourself. Do something just for you that will launch you forward faster in creating the balance that you want. Now, I'm very familiar with this because I'm probably one of the ones that did it. We spend $30,000 to $60,000 in advanced degrees that really don't help us have the balance that we desire. They do give us higher paying jobs, and I'm very grateful for that. But it also adds more stress because we're taking on more responsibility. When was the last time you actually made a personal investment in yourself for your own good and your own happiness without the company or without feeling pressured to have to invest in yourself. Like, in order for you to climb the corporate ladder, you needed to get a master's degree. Or in order for you to become really good in this, you needed to get certified in that. But when was the last time you actually invested in yourself and doing something that you really wanted to do that had nothing to do with work? Here are some reasons why you should invest in yourself. You'll feel more productive at home and also at work. You'll feel a sense of peace and happiness, and you'll be spending quality time on the things that matter to you most. One of the best investments in my last few years that I did for myself, and I did not ask the company to pay for this, was I decided that I wanted to learn more about mindfulness. And I paid for it out of my own pocket because I knew that it was something that was going to help me deal with stress and burnout, but also I could learn from it and share it with others. But my biggest takeaway, probably from investing in yourself, is that I also wanted to improve my overall health. And life is just too short. We never know when something is going to come up and we can no longer function in the manner in which you're functioning. So take the time and just do something for you now and don't wait. There are times when what you're doing just isn't working. If you've been trying to achieve balance for years and years and you've been frustrated about it and you keep getting the same results, then it's probably time that you do something different. And this is when you know it's time to get some help. When you're feeling stuck, when you are ready to actually step out of your comfort zone and do something different, when you have a vision, maybe, but you just can't figure out how to get started. Those are times when you just step out of your shell and decide to get a mentor or get a coach or just talk to a friend or get a buddy or a partner. But take the time to do something that will launch you forward and get in the balance that you want, the balance that you deserve. Because ultimately, what you're doing is everything that you're doing now is you're probably good at it. But when you decide to get some help and really focus on moving yourself forward, not only do you get better, but you start performing at your best. And that is actually what happened to me. I decided that it was time for me to really deal with the stress that I was dealing with and figuring out how I could get the balance that I deserve. And I actually hired a coach. And it could not have come at a better time in my life because I was having parents that were my parents were getting older, and my mom had had a stroke. And I wanted to be at home more with her, to be able to kind of care for her. And I also wanted to have a life outside of work. And so that is when I decided, well, Marcy, you've been trying to do this on your own, but maybe it's just time for you to get some help. And that's when I hired a mentor, and I also ended up hiring a coach. One of the best investments that I ever could have made in my life. Invest in yourself because you are the most important asset that you have. There is no one like you. So I would recommend, even if you're on a small budget or a large budget and you really seeking balance, take the time to do an assessment, figure out exactly what you want, and then get you some help that will help move you forward. So let's recap. The first shift is there's no such thing as work-life balance. The second one is mastering the mindset. The third shift is work your magic, power in your words. The fourth one is build a barrier. And the last one is